Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you for clicking on the video. Today I'm doing something new that I haven't done before that I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's just take you behind the scenes of me editing a photo. For this, I went back in my archives and pulled up this photo that I took in Mexico on one of the trips my wife and I took back in the day, and it's just a photo, a drone. It's actually doesn't even look like a drone photo because the drone was fairly low on the beach. The sun was going down, and I was just napping away. The sun was going down fast, and I was just clicking away. But I got this photo, and I didn't pick it for any particular reason. I just want to see like what I can do with it and go from there. I am editing on a PC, so um, whatever I tell you, basically the difference is command and control from my experience. So um, thanks again for watching, and let's get it. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do over here is turn on this little things, which let me know where the areas are blown out or they're too dark. Okay, by looking at this picture, like I said, this is nothing super special, but I don't know. I'm gonna give it life. So the first thing I usually do when I do my photos is bring down the highlights to where you don't see them being blown out anymore, something like that. Okay. And the shadows, I'm gonna lift up a little bit so I can bring this up a little more. Yeah, there we go. And I think when I shot this, I was shooting an auto white balance, so it actually looks pretty good from what I remember. That's exactly what it looked like. But let me add a little bit of more magenta in here to give it that little magenta-ish look over here. And I'm liking how that's looking. Okay, so next, I'm going to play with the blacks. Let me bring down the blacks a little bit. Let me pull them up to see what it's starting to look. And like I said, I don't have any specific way of doing things. I just get inspired and I'll just start editing and I'll see what I come up with. One thing that I'm noticing a little bit is a little bit of warping. So I'm going to go down here real quick to see if I enable the profile correction, what it does. And as you can see, it did a little bit, which I think I'm happy with. I'll just leave it like that. I won't mess with them no more. I'm going to go back up here and work in the colors. I'm seeing a lot of noise, so I'm going to work that a little bit later. But for now, I'm going to keep giving this life. One of the things that I always do is bring up or exaggerate the sun. So I'm going to press Control minus to put it a little smaller for me to do. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a radial filter, a radial gradient. Okay, and I'm going to put it over the sun. And I like to exaggerate, make it look all majestic. Okay, just further all the way, and that's the way I want it. First thing I'm going to do is just increase the exposure to see what it's doing to the photo. So, okay, and then I'm going to give it some color. I'm liking that. I'm liking that. I'm going to keep pushing it. I'm going to keep pushing it. And I'm liking how that's looking. Let's give it a little magenta to see if it does anything. Ooh, I like that. All right. So let me bring down the highlights to see if it does anything to the blown out area. I mean, it is the sun, so it's supposed to be blown out. So I'm going to leave it a little bit like that. And I like how that's looking. I'm going to press enter. And I'm going to bring this back up to see what I'm liking, I'm disliking. Okay, kind of seems a little too dark over here for my taste. So what I'm going to do is add another mask. This time maybe linear gradient. I'm going to bring it up something like this. I'm going to make my photo smaller again so I know what's hitting. And let me bring that up just a tad. Too much. Too far back. So I'm going to bring this just a little bit like this. And I'm also going to give it a little warmer look. That's a little bit too much. Let me bring the contrast down a little bit. I'm digging it. I'm digging it. Let's see. That's what it looks without it. This is what it looks with the two little changes that I've made, okay? All right, so I'm digging that already. All right. To be honest, I would leave something like this alone because I'm not changing too much about it, but knowing me, I'm going to give it some more. But the one thing that's bugging me is all this noise that I'm giving. I mean, this was shot with the Mavic 1 Pro, so not much of a low light beast there, but I was still able to grade some great pictures in the past with this drone. So I know there's a couple things that we can do to tweak it. Before I keep messing with the colors, I am going to do some noise reduction. As you can see, very noisy picture. And I'm just going to increase the luminance to maybe 20. And that fixes the noise, in my opinion, but it's too much. So I'm going to bring it down about 10 or 12. All right. Okay. I'm digging that. Cool. Cool. All right. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go down to calibration. And I always like playing with the blue primaries. I like bringing this down a little bit to see what it does. A little too blue for my taste. I'm going to bring it the other way to see what happens. It's a little too magenta, so I'm going to double click that to bring it back to 0 and leave it alone. Okay, so I'm going to go back up here, and most of my editing happens with masks. So what else do I want to add over here? I think the radial mask that we put over here to make the sun a little bigger, I want to make it a little bit more bigger this way. So I'm going to actually add another mask, another radial mask. And I'm going to bring it somewhere like around here. Remember, the sun is coming from this way, so it would not make sense for me to put another mask over here. So I'm just going to bring it this way. I'm going to make this smaller so I can see or move it around. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I'm just going to increase. This is all try and error, okay? So, boom. Okay, let's see. So it's definitely hitting the part of the picture that I want, which is this part, but it's kind of taking over this, which I'm pretty happy with how that looks. So what I might do is add some color to where I want it. And let's see what it will look like if I place this in the middle or somewhere along here. Okay, I'm definitely digging that. Let me give it some contrast. So it goes from orangey into the magentas into the blue. And now I'm realizing that over here, I might want to just make it a little darker. But for that, we're going to do something else. But let me decrease the shadows over here. Actually, I was going to add another mask, but just by decreasing the shadows, it's actually doing what I want. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna press enter, and this is what we're working with so far. Okay, now this is before, and this is after so far. Before, after. Okay. All right. So minimize this a little bit more, just like that. And I'm looking at the photo and still looking a little bit too blue for my taste. So I'm going to play around with blue saturation and just bringing down a tad, not a whole bunch because it's going to start looking weird. Let's see what happens if I increase the saturation. Yeah, it takes too much. Just a little tad. Boom. Okay. Now the water over here, in my opinion, is looking kind of dull. So I could do two things. Add another layer and actually use a brush and or a radial gradient. For this case, I'm just going to use a brush and see what happens with that. So over here, I like to have my brushes always feathered, like around 70%. And I'm just going to give it a stroke across it. Okay. Nice little stroke across the water. Okay, you can do this a lot finer, in finer detail, but just a tad. You see that? What's going on there? It's a little too much. I'm going to add a little yellow so it's consistent with our background or the light that's coming through. It's a little too magenta. It looks weird. And actually, I'm going to leave this at 0 and just add the orange. If we go all the way, it's too much. Just a little tad. And then the amount, I'm going to bring it down. So I just want to add a little bit. All right. I'm going to leave that alone for now. All right. The next thing that I want to do is touch up the sky. Obviously, the light's coming from here. So if I start masking from over here, it would have to be in the orange. But what I want to do is just darken this side a little bit. So I'll kind of create a natural gradient, which is going on, but I want to emphasize it a little more. And to do that, I'm going to add another mask and another linear gradient. But now from the top, I'm going to go down this way. Okay. I'm just going to bring the exposure down just to see how it looks. We're almost creating kind of like a vignette. Let's see if I bring this down. Just a tad. Okay. And then since we're going from orangey into the blues, I might just push this a little bit into the blues. And I'm digging that. I'm digging that a lot. Cool, cool, cool. I'm going to press enter to go back to right here. I'm going to check the before and after. Before and after. Now, just out of curiosity, I'm going to push the contrast to see what that does. I'm going to bring it down to like 5. I'm digging that. I am digging that. I'm bringing it back out just so I can see what's going on. And I think I want to leave this one alone for now. Let's see what happens when I put a little dehaze. Ooh, that's way too much, but maybe around 10, 11. I'm digging that. So that's it for this video. Like I said, it's just a little behind the scenes how I like to go about coloring my landscape photos. This case was a photo I took with the drone in Mexico, and it was a lot of fun. So if you like this video and you want to come along in the future to more photos that I edit, just press that subscribe button. Make sure you like this video if you liked it. If not, press it twice. And I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.